is Desiree, aka Mama Friendly, and I do all sorts of videos on this channel, from cooking videos to planner videos, vlogs, hauls, homeschool videos with a Disney twist, a little bit of everything. So if any of that sounds like fun to you, I hope that you'll subscribe and join me on my YouTube adventure. Now this video is the second video in the cycle syncing series, say that 3 times fast, that I've been working on this week and for the rest of 2022. It also happens to be part of a grocery haul collab hosted by Tiffany of Small Town 6 and Jessica of Jessica My Rose. I'm gonna have both their channels linked down below and a playlist linked as well, so you could see what all of my other friends got for their grocery hauls this month. Now, if you're here for the cycle syncing aspect, we are going to be doing the follicular phase right now, which is the second phase in the menstrual cycle. If you want to hear all about cycle syncing generally and seed cycling, why I'm doing this, how I'm doing this, etc., I'm going to direct you up here to the first video in the series, and it's also going to be linked down below. So I'm not going to do the whole what is cycle syncing, how did we get here, etc., because I'm hoping that if you're interested in cycle syncing, you'll have watched that first video too. However, I am going to repeat myself when I say that I'm not a doctor and I'm not an expert. This is just research that I've been doing and the program that I've been following loosely to help myself feel better in my body and to help control or help stabilize my hormones. That being said, I don't have PCOS, I do have regular cycles. I'm just always looking for any sort of biohack that I can integrate into my regimen to help myself feel my best as naturally as possible. So before we dive into the follicular phase though, I did want to give you a tiny update from the last video, which was the menstrual phase, aka the first phase of the cycle. The raspberry leaf tea actually was super helpful at relieving cramps. So that worked out fantastically. I'd never had it before. It was also really tasty. I am very into tea though, so maybe it's an acquired taste, but I acquired it quite quickly, to be honest. I had 1 cup every night before bed, and I will say, maybe it's a coincidence, maybe not, but this was my first cycle doing this, and my period was much lighter, way less painful, and it lasted only 4 days. I typically bleed for 6 to 7 days. If you're just here for a grocery haul, by the way, so sorry, probably should have prefaced this with, this is a video about uteruses and like female bodies, and so I am going to talk about that sort of thing. If that's TMI for you, I'll go ahead and put chapters at the bottom so that you can just go straight to the grocery haul. Probably should have told you about that first. But in any case, we're all adults here, right? So the tea definitely helped with the cramps, and I did not expect it to shorten my period overall. Maybe it was the tea, maybe it was the cycle syncing diet or nutrition that I was following, but so far so good. It is just the first cycle of my doing this, but it's been very promising so far. I also did a couple recipes that I wanted to share with you guys. Namely, I made a red kidney bean soup with pumpkin and ham that was absolutely divine. I also roasted some pumpkin seeds or bebitas to eat as far as like the seed cycling portion, which again, there are 2 different things. You don't have to do one with the other. You could do either or both, as I'm doing, but seed cycling is something else that helps you kind of regulate your hormones, particularly if you're trying to conceive like we are, or if you have PCOS. This stage, the follicular stage that I'm about to talk about, is one where you would continue that first bit of seed cycling. So if you are seed cycling, you'd still be having your pumpkin seeds and your flax seeds right now. Something else that I had a lot that week with the menstrual phase is chia pudding with pomegranate seeds on top. And chia pudding is embarrassingly easy to make, but if you'd like to see how I do it, let me know and I'll release that in a video as well. So I've got my little notes here for the follicular phase. It typically is between days 8 and 14 of your cycle. All the days are approximate because not every person has a cycle that's exactly the same length. 28 days is what doctors are taught is normal, but just because your cycle's not exactly 28 days does not mean that anything is abnormal or that anything is wrong. It's just a guideline. So in this stage, your energy is starting to rise because your hormone levels are starting to rise again after menstruation, namely your estrogen and your FSH or follicular stimulating hormone. This is a hormone that tells your ovaries, hey, get to work. Let's get things going because soon we're gonna need an egg to come down the fallopian tube. We're about to get things started here. The uterine lining is also thickening in preparation for potential impregnation and implantation. Because your energy is rising, this is a good time to start ramping up the intensity of your workouts. So things like high interval training. You could also do strength training, jogging, biking, dancing, hiking. These are all great workout ideas for this stage of your cycle. And because your brain is kind of lifted out of that fog that you might have been experiencing during your low energy phase, your menstrual cycle, this is also a great time for planning, brainstorming, and starting new projects. So I already mentioned that if you're seed cycling, it would be the same as week 1. This is all still considered phase 1 of seed cycling because the cycle syncing, these are all words that are very easy to get tangled up with. Cycle syncing is happening phase to phase, which is approximately week to week, sort of, but the seed cycling happens like first half and then second half of the cycle. So we're still in the first half of your cycle. You're still sticking to pumpkin seeds and flax seeds. Pumpkin seeds for the high zinc, and that helps you raise your progesterone. Flax seeds help you regulate your estrogen production. So it helps ramp it up until just where you need it to be, and then it binds the excess and helps you eliminate it. That way you're not left with an estrogen overabundance or estrogen dominance, which could cause its own problems. So for this week, the grocery list is very protein heavy. You want to stock up on high protein foods, and then things like leafy greens, avocado. We've got wild caught fish, pastured eggs, green lentils. Fermented foods are also very important to help with your gut. String beans, sweet potatoes, oats, dark chocolate, chicken, and pomegranates, which I've been really loving lately. So now that we've gotten all of the follicular cycle facts out of the way, let's launch right into that grocery haul so I can show you what I'm eating this week. Welcome back to the kitchen where I'm showing you kind of a big haul compared to last week. It seems that way anyways, for our follicular phase of our cycle. And so I'm gonna start over here. First off, we've got lots of organic eggs. Eggs are a staple around here regardless, so I'm happy to see them on the list this week. We also have some dark leafy greens, so we've got some spring mix and then just some classic romaine blend back there. I've got nut butter here, so I've got some natural peanut butter. Let me kind of pull it out here so you guys could see it. Some organic creamy peanut butter. The thing about peanut butter is that they suggest that you have it like with oats for breakfast or just as a meal, so that the soluble fiber in the oats and then the peanut butter has like a balanced meal aspect to it. I, however, do not eat oats. Even if they're gluten-free, my body just does not do well with them, and I learned that through an elimination diet. So I did not get oats, but I am planning to just snack on the peanut butter with maybe some apples or something. Speaking of soluble fiber, we've got some lentils over here, either to boil up and put in salads or to make some soup. Sweet potato. I bought this whole one first, and then I went to a second store, or I ordered from a second store and saw that they had already chopped. I will always, even if it's more expensive, I will always opt for the pre-sliced or pre-chopped fruits and veggies, because I know that having the veggies whole is something that's going to get in the way of me using them at all. And so I'd rather pay more for the pre-cut stuff and know that it's going to actually get used than pay less for the whole stuff and potentially it gets thrown away. Now, a sweet potato is going to last a while, so I'm not worried about that happening in this case. But for sure, if I had seen the pre-sliced first, I would not have bought the whole ones. And that's just personal preference. But you do whatever you've got to do to make sure that you actually get your money's worth and use the stuff you buy. Next, we have some wild caught fish. It's just a little tiny bit of salmon because I already had salmon last week. And so I don't want to get tired of it, but that's the easiest thing that's available in my area as far as wild caught fish. So I just went for some more salmon. Chicken. Now this I got lots of. We've got boneless, skinless thighs here from the freezer, and then we've also got some fresh ones, and I also got some chicken apple sausage. Now I'm going to give you guys a little meal idea at the end of the haul to use with this. Citrus is something else that's on the list, so I got some of these mandarins, these cuties. My husband already attacked, but there should still be enough left in the bag to get me through the week. And speaking of vitamin C, we've also got some peppers here. This is a pepper and onion mix that I'm planning to cook with. We've got broccoli over here, some pomegranates, which I've been loving lately on some chia seeds or just straight from the pack. I wish they weren't so expensive because I love pomegranate. But yes, again, I got the cup of arrows ready to go because getting the actual pomegranate would have been easier, or cheaper I should say, but it wouldn't have been easier because I would have had to cut it open and do the whole thing, and that would have been a mission that would have actually impeded me from just eating the pomegranate. So this was a little more expensive, but it's ready to go, and so I will actually eat it. And then fermented foods, so I got some coconut based yogurt, which is really, really tasty. This brand in particular is my favorite. They have the best texture of all the other dairy-free yogurts I've tried. We still have some avocado mash left over from last week, so I didn't buy any more. That's just more of the stuff we had from the last haul. And then the last thing on the list is pepitas, or pumpkin seeds. And I already ate them because I'm recording this actually a couple days after I bought everything. But what I did instead of buying pumpkin seeds is that I actually bought a chunk of pumpkin and I used it in a red bean soup last week, which was divine. But I, instead of throwing out the seeds, roasted them with some olive oil, garlic, salt, pepper, and paprika. Incredible. So those unfortunately are all gone. I cannot show them to you, but they were part of my haul this week and they were in fact ingested during the follicular phase. Now I wanted to give you a couple ideas for meals to do with these. So first off, the bell pepper and onion mix. I'm planning to use some of this with some of the boneless chicken thighs, and I'm gonna basically prepare like fajita bowls. So I'm gonna make chicken fajita type meat, and I'm gonna use some of this avocado, put it on top of our spring mix, and that's gonna be a dinner and a lunch. And then something else that I'm planning to do is get these chicken apple sausages, which are delicious, and I make this meal all the time. I'm gonna slice them up and toss them with the sweet potatoes with some olive oil, salt, pepper, and rosemary. I'm gonna throw that in the oven at about 400 for 40 minutes to an hour, and it depends on how big the sweet potato is. I might let this go for a whole hour because these chunks are big, because you want them to cook through, but you also want them to kind of dry out a little bit and get a little crisp on the outside. And once that's ready, I'm gonna scoop it into a bowl and top it with a couple of fried eggs. Amazing for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. So that's just a couple ways that I'm gonna use all these things throughout this week, but I think it's a pretty good haul, and I'm looking forward to all of these meals, and I'm already feeling better. I'm enjoying this way of eating, and I don't see an end to it anytime soon. Something else I got for the follicular phase, although the box arrived trashed, if you could tell by the state of those bags right there, is some chamomile tea, because the estrogen in your system starts to ramp up this week and it makes you feel a little more high energy. That high energy could sometimes feel like anxiety if you're someone that already deals with that like I do. Chamomile tends to be very calming. So I've been having 1 or 2 of these a night, every night, to kind of help me wind down before bed. And it's just tasty anyways. It's a nice tea to have on hand. Alright friends, there you have it. That's what I've purchased this week to help in my follicular phase of my menstrual cycle. The next video in the cycle syncing series will likely be out in early December. I'm trying to kind of space them out so that I'm not bombarding you guys with 4 or 5 uploads a week every week, especially now that the holidays are coming about. So in that ovulation video, we'll talk about phase 2 of seed cycling. We'll talk about ovulation, which is the shortest phase, but also the one where the most things are going on inside your body. And of course, I will bring you another grocery haul as well. Speaking of grocery hauls, if that's what you're here for, make sure you check out that playlist down below before you go so you can see what all of my friends got for their grocery hauls this month too. And meanwhile, if you're here for the cycle syncing, if you have any questions about the follicular phase or about ovulation, which is coming up and you'd like me to include it in that video, let me know in the comments and I'll do my best to research it and get you the answer as soon as I'm able. Either way, whatever you're here for, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that it was informative. And if you liked it, I hope that you'll please give it a big thumbs up. I'd also love it if you would subscribe and click that notification bell because I post at least 3 times a week, even during the holidays, and I wouldn't want you to miss a minute. Thanks so much again for watching. Bye!